watching QTV this morning, and I am Jammeh Sonko, and I'm here with my co-host Ibrahim Abalde, and we're glad that we are wrapping up the week, and no better way to wrap up the week than having the President of the Gambia Press Union join us on the program on the Newspaper Review. Thank you so much, Isa Tuketa, for joining us on the program.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here again. I've been going on and off, and it was more like a roller coaster for me to actually come back here for the Newspaper Review and all that. But then here I am, and it's good to be back.
We're glad to have you.
Is it the first time since you assumed office as the president to join us on this morning?
Yes,
I think we made arrangements previously, but it couldn't hold.
Yeah, unfortunately, but here I am.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, we have her here.
Yeah, so
then we need to officially congratulate her. Then you know the entire This Morning team. We are telling you congratulations. You know, it's not just being the president of the Gambia Press Union, but being a female. You know, after Ndeye Tafa Sose, you were the second female president of the Gambia Press Union. So it's a win for all young girls in the Gambia and beyond.
So it's telling you how women can make a difference.
Exactly.
I mean, when given the chance. So it's good to have you here, Isa.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes,
so should we head right on to our African proverb before we head right on to current affairs?
Absolutely.
If you pay your chief a morning visit, he will remember you when the maize is ripe.
A morning visit?
Yeah. If you pay your chief a morning visit, he will remember you when the maize is ripe. Well, I just feel like nit soko fale. Time fale la su jote dina la ko delo.
Suñ former president waxon nako de.
Waaw.
Mu ne mbir mi safla ma safla savante la. You remember that please? Mu ne affaire si nga saf ma safla mbir mi savante la. He once said that on one.
Waaw, man si man li is corrupt. Man suma gisee li because ñu ne la ay statu chief la. Mu ne la ne soo ko pay a morning visit maize bi si biir community bi su ñoree dina la si may
su mbooxa bi ñoree
dina la xaamee pour mun laa may so it means ne dafa am suñ ko xoolee deeply man si man dama feel ne because as a chief yow warloo seet ku la seet si ak ku la seet si because you're there to serve no man loolu laa ko
foguloo ne doomi aadama sa moo mel noonu is interest based
most of the time.
I mean that's human nature that okay we tend to consider people ñoo xam ne ñu yëg bu baax.
What do you say?
Said correct in a perspective of ma nekk si biir kër rek. Léegi nga ma yekkal bu set nga ma ñëw seet seeg yooyu noonu. Bés ma amee ma tooga bu bari moom. For the first people to consider mooy.
Waaw baal ma yekkal fu ma nit.
Waaw exactly and I don't think there is anything wrong with that. Especially léegi soo ko xoolee fu jamono bi toolu. At some point dang dee toolu foo xam ne comme talatuloo dara.
Dëgg la.
So koy tar rek moo nekk ku la faale ak ku la tar. Ñooñu rek ngay put into consideration. Wow. But your finger as neka come in the aspect of neka njit do faale waruloo seet kan moo la faale ak ku la faale but again too nga xool tamit yow ñu la faale ak ñu la faale mun loo leen a emale su fekkee yow yaa ngi def dara at some point ñooñu nga njëkk a consider.
I think it's just a psychological
thing. It has to do with the mindset and yow tamit nooy perceive certain things but again I don't think there's anything.
Bassirou Diomaye Faye de bàyyi na fi Pastef.
Waaw.
Pastef mu ne moom resign na from Pastef mu ne moom léegi président yi Sénégal la amatul dara pour def ak Pastef amatul dara pour def ak Benno Bokk Yaakaar léegi moom président sénégalais yi la soo ku ko bëgg ko bañ si lu mu wax ñëpp la emale.
It's still a bit different.
xëy na wax bi ak
jëfin ba pare but also tamit soo ko bëggee yóbbu soo ko bëggee contextualize in that aspect you might get it a bit wrong looking at what the proverb is
waaye proverb nga chief la wax
waaw chief la wax de but and again mun nga koo jël nga generalize
dafa depend si context boobu
it depends on the context tamit
if it is context si ñun as normal human beings moom ku la yëg ngaa yëg man ku ma yëg laa yëg personnellement ni ma yëgut sama fu
waaye xam nga tam it's dafa it makes sense pour nga yëg koo xam ne you know the person have been there for you understand nga in fact loolu lañ dee wax I mean you have to be there for me you know maybe a difficult time pour ma mun laa yëg ma mun laa xàmmee you know why sometimes daf dee change trend bi daf dee mun a change in such a way that am na ñoo xam ne sax yëgatu ñi nga xam ne they were there for them.
waaw ba pare generally comme Aïssatou nu mu ko waxee rek ñu la yëg daal ñoo ñu nga njëkka look after so feebare so nekkee in difficult moments but most of the time most inspirational speakers around the world most of the time they would always point at somebody that was there for them when things were tough like man I would always point at particular 1 or 2 people to say when I was starting journalism it was tough ñii la woon so dama continuer ak ñoom ba faw
li am na suma xel si lum dem yaakaar na time school waaye suma xel they will actually say because mom kind of was there.
Okay.
Time as JDM, when I was serving as JSA president, I could recall when we used to have activities, very few people will actually, some will actually come and participate or be part of the process. You could recall when we were going to Kunta Kinte Island for that training. So those people that have never been part of, the entire school went, but those that have not been part of JSA activities, what I don't know, they attend you remove them from the list. All of them were entirely removed from the list. I think Jammeh was part of it and few others.
Probably.
Yes, you were part of it with few others, and they were like, I said, get a fear out and all that. I was like, it's more like not give it preferential.
Exactly.
You guys were not Nekulen for one from day one.
They were
you know, it's good that you are saying this because just for Balde Gomne, I've always been antisocial.
Yeah.
Not because of anxiety, obviously, but in Gambia, just yesterday I posted on my status there's this organization coming up, they are dealing with mental health Gambia, and they were talking about like social anxiety issues and stuff, but I was kind of disassociating, not because I wanted to, but it's just the anxiety. So ñu dem attaque institut xam naa ne maa lii doon délégation de
mu lii délégation waaw loolu feewul naka nga yóbbu school bi yëpp ma ne la but ñun suñu amee activité doo leen ñëw léegi soo leen ñëwutee ñun tam duñ leen si boole
waaw which makes a lot of sense
guy propose lañ fa
ñëw ak suñu
interest
but I guess that is what the proverb is, but if you're watching online or from you can tell us your opinion as well, how you see this proverb and how can it resonate to your daily activities and just how you deal with your life. So Ibrahima, let's now head on to the newspaper. A lot has been happening over the course of the week. To start with, the sale of Jammeh's assets. The Republic has come up with a in-depth investigative report, talking about the sale of Yahya Jammeh's assets. On the other hand, we've seen a protest by a group called
Gambia against Gambians against looting assets.
Something like that. GALA.
Yeah.
So they wrote to the Inspector General of Police, but they were not granted
a permit
to protest. And this is where we are at this point in time. So, what's your take on that? The sale of Jammeh's assets, the controversy surrounding it, and now there's a group of young people who say they want to protest now.
Yeah, and interestingly, the issue about the sale of Jammeh's assets, this was something that most of us have been hearing about. There was no contextual details as to how everything actually happened. And you've seen how it actually has started up conversation around the country and so many things that have actually been coming up. So because now what has been revealed was a detail of everything that really happened, and then things that we even never thought will happen, and individuals that have also been involved in the process of all of these things. So basically what people would want to know is how the process actually went, because this was nothing that was actually put up in the public domain for people to know as to how things were. So when you look at it, even everything that people are saying at the moment is more like how did people want to know how the process actually went. In as much as maybe the ex-minister mentioned that it actually was under the auspices of the law that every process was taken, but now people really want to know who were those involved. But the fact that if you remember back when the minister came up to say that they would not publish the names of those that actually bought the assets unless and until the National Assembly actually requests it. Now the most interesting part is now National Assembly has also said that they're going to make sure that it's published and then they know everything that has happened. It's kind of a very controversial and a bit complex situation.
Exactly. Yes. For me, I think publishing the names of those who bought these things, I mean, it's important. But I think it's not as important as knowing, okay, why did they sell these things in secret? You understand? So I think for those that bought these properties, I mean, you want to sell. and I buy it.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's
but again,
important, but for me that
doesn't... What was the process of that? Because so deme nga to ngane duma publicize naka la ñoo jaay asset. Xëy na yow sa family kese nga dem oote ngane la nañ jël bagage yi ni ñu séddu
wala indi nit mu jënd ko on sa behalf.
Exactly. Wara nga andi ni more so comme dafa mel ni comme noonu la, because when you look at some of the details of the report, it was more like that it was a third party. So it was like man ma jël Balde Ibrahima Balde rek ma ne ko ne léegi man maay jënd bagage waaye dama la jox xaalis bi dama la jox xaalis yow nga jënd ko on your behalf. Te leer na ma ne Ibrahima Balde amul xaalis boobu noonu. So dama jël xaalis bi ma jox ko, and then when Ibrahima buys it, Ibrahima daf koo delloowaat ba man maa jënd ba tey. But dama use Ibrahima as the middleman there.
Waaw waaye am na ñu génn tam clarify na dañ ko jënd fairly.
Waaw
dañ ko jaay dañ ko dégga dañ ko publish ñu am seen xaalis dem jënd ko. So side boobu tamit foog ñu xool si, because dëkk bi tamit xam nga luwa moo ko govern. So in as much as anything am na ñoo xam ne seen jënd bi si luwa lañ ko teg.
Ba pare, and the other concern that has also been raised is the value at which people actually bought this material.
Exactly.
Hold for the case in point of Demba, we could have had Turo Dabo speaking when he said he bought the aircraft. And then interestingly, he said he bought the aircraft just because he doesn't want it to be sold to foreigners. And now he even forgot that he bought those aircraft.
Dafa fate.
Mu ne fa jënd aircraft, and then lim ko jënd is $500,000.
Yes. It's $500,000.
Wow. So you de mom jënd na ko ba pare faté na mom sa jëndoon na.
Because he doesn't want it to fall in the wrong hands.
So it's quite interesting. So you looking at how the assets would have been valued, and then the cost
the
that
money
it was
that
sold,
was lost,
and then how that money could have actually impacted on the Gambia's economic recovery. Like I think that is what actually started so much anger and desperation amongst young people.
Why publishing the list of buyers? But changes the more in
it wouldn't have any change unless but maybe just so it could still be maybe those people they gain they preach certain things that they are not even practicing. Who knows? All of those things could happen. So now people would want to know who these individuals are, and then what they've been preaching matches what they are practicing, what they are doing in
real life.
Yes, in real life.
Why nañ said that? Waaw suñ publisher list bi xëj na affaire si dina gën a leer. Waaye tamit ku am xaalisam tam di jënd tam.
Waaw kenn mënu ko tere ne waruloo jënd ak yooyu noonu. Waaye xam naa dafa delluwaat si government rek as to lu tax process bi buñ ko doon def in as much as it was
defuñ ko public auction ak yooyu noonu.
Defuñ ko public auction because soo gisee most of this auction that happens dañ ko publicize ak yooyu noonu. At least nga announce that there would be a public auction. So su ko defee everybody in the country will have the right to actually go and bid for the asset or property that you want to buy.
Wow, because Turo Dabo mom explain na ne it was bidding ak benn South African. Mom according to mom revelations you make mom go through na bidding. So how mom bosam fan lañ ko advertise mu ne Ministry of Finance ñoo ko advertise. Allegedly loolu la explain te bu mu ko explainer mu ne diggante moom la ak benn South African bi for naa kooku dafa bid about 200 or 300,000 US dollars, mom with $500,000 US dollars, mom ñu mujjé ko ko jaay. So all these details for confusing. You don't know who is.
I think ñun ñep ñu fi won. So I can't recall any time that bidding
man tam remember.
Wa ñu ne amon na ben website buñ create fofu lañ ko
Why website bi tam duga nañ fa ne lolu amut.
So there is a lot of irregularities. So let's move on. NAWEC vows energy independence as Gambian ends car power ship deal.
Yeah, it's been a 7-year partnership between the Gambia and the car power ship since 2018. And now, just yesterday on the news, the NAWEC DG called for a press conference. And during the press conference, he's pointing at mobilizing sub-regional energy. Some of these countries have enough energy and now they're willing to share. And it's about, taking the most cost-effective approach to it.
So for me, I think it could be a good one to ensure some sort of independence, not relying on external energy to be able to sustain what we have in the country. But I think there should have been proper planning and proper contingency plan before we just cut off the contract that we have with car power ship. All of these things, mobilizing energy from sub-regional sources, it's fine. But how about starting it before? And then before that, you already have the plans at hand. before ending the contract with car
Well,
power
I think they must have put in the plans. But one might, according to the press conference yesterday.
The plans are already there.
Yes, where they've already sourced and identified where they want to get energy from surplus, from other sub-regional.
Has the process already started? That becomes
I would believe, based on how the DG spoke.
But now look at what has been happening since the end of the car powership contract up to now. What has been actually the change in time happening.
So, from your observed situation, people want to
assess what will, but then
send them.
As of now, Mom, it is nothing to write home about.
Wow.
I talk for hours. Wow. So all of those things. I think they should have been able to inform people maybe a month before.
Wow.
Before contract we don't end. So that people can be aware. We would be prepared for whatever could happen at some point. Anyway.
Well, at the end of the day, Buka Power Binyowe Tamit, then you remember there was a lot of noise.
Yes.
Because Gambia, they ga neexut why sometimes do they have car power ñëw na ñu ne car power indi nañ ko doxut
courant amut
car power nga dem ñu ne car power waruta dem so léegi ñun fan lañ fété as a country
satisfy ñu ci bopam mo na
lolu human nature la
for lo munti like whatever actions you take, whatever decisions you end up taking, people will always, you cannot stop people from talking. They will always, even so like when everybody accepts, one person is going to oppose at some point.
Wow. Well, already we've gotten hints from the DG as to alternative. Hints are there based on press conference call for. You think I'm gonna get hints from approach.
No, other alternatives are there.
Other alternatives
no, probably
are there.
because bu nekkee ne terminate dañ contract bi jeex na. I mean dafa am fuñ yaakaar ak plans yoo xam ne yooyu noonu they are on the way probably because I've engaged some NAWEC staff and what they said was, okay, Brikama power station was off all this while. It wasn't, on. But now the Brikama power plant is on now.
Because of car power.
Because of car power,
wow,
So
let's see. I think we can still, it's still an assessing period.
Wow. Do you want to conclude that
we might not be able to conclude anything at this point. Like time will tell. But then the Gambians are such that don't you satisfy. Almost every day people will actually come to complain about this issue of NAWEC and all that.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we've already started placing car powership and all.
Yeah, but also the National Human Rights Commission, has had a 2-day workshop where they are validating a particular policy, a generic workplace sexual harassment policy that is going to be used across the country by public sector as well as private sector. Workplace harassment, I'm a GPU. On the side of the media, you do have...
we have a sexual harassment policy as well. And I think this
is more of a generic one.
I think this is actually good. And even part of what we, even at the GPU, have actually been doing was to see more like, even if institutions don't have it, they can localize and actually use the one that has been done by GPU to adopt them in-house. But I think it's good because when you look at it, sexual harassment actually happens across. But then again, what really happens in most cases, people will tell you that sexual harassment, but do they know what do they exactly? They don't even know what constitutes
different forms.
Exactly. They don't even know what constitutes sexual harassment.
In a workplace, well,
even
sexual harassment.
All of those things are sexual. Even it's sexual harassment. People don't actually know that. So I think this is good. It might not having a policy in place is one thing, but again, sometimes when you look at it in certain institutions, the heads, they harass individuals that are in the workplace. So what happens? So I think
especially in the media, we've seen complaints from young women. You explain allegedly based on interviews. These are people obviously don't know boldly because this has to do with sexual stuff. They will be like, "Ki, daf ma bugona defli pur mu jox ma liggéey" in the media. The media happens to be a hotspot
for harass
jigéen based on job boko buga jox. You nga neka mom or nga chase ko with the intention that dang ko jox liggéey lolu gis nañ ko fi.
I think the thing is usually so they may solve most of the times the blame comes to the women and the first question that people ask, what were you wearing? Naka nga don def ak yoy nan. The person has the right to wear whatever the person feels like wear. That doesn't mean that doesn't tantamount to yo dang ma wara harass because of what I am wearing. Lower your gaze. Why is that happening? People don't do that. So lima sol water depict no, that is the reason why you also have to harass me and all of those things. And people have to adopt this sense of calling people out. If I know that the institution cannot actually help, I've not gone through the policy that NHRC has actually developed, which I'll actually take time to actually go through and see what has actually been, and then what will be the last resort and all of this. But then examples need to be set. So that will actually trigger people to be aware of some of the things that they do. But most of us will actually normalize those things. Without even calling it out. You told me inappropriately, I tell you that you don't need to.
Sexual harassment one bit of a meaty because so gene sa purwa ñuko fekke duñ wax
that's also
ñuko fekke bo len ko len len yang ma doon explainal ne diw def na li diw gëna sil ñu dem ciem borom parce que man for exemple ñeme na gëna ciem ku nekk ragaluma loolu waye da nga gis ne do am baakin so yow da nga wait
at some point
sexual harassment proof ko
proving sexual harassment, it's very difficult. I have had a case, and we had this Your Meal project that we were going around the country and engaging women and some of these issues to look at some of the challenges that women
are facing.
Yeah, some of these things actually came up. And then you have especially areas in rural Gambia that it has been happening, that on some series of instances that it happened. So I think it happened with one lady. What the person later on did was record the individual in question. Lim don wax yeb mu record ko, and after bim ko bole borom buga deny mu play ko recording. So what they later did, although borom sagoñ ko, but then ko redeploy to a very remote area where the person is going. No, it's not even a solution. Redeploy, it's immediate sacking.
Immediate sacking,
the person will eventually do it to another individual for more damage.
Hanga man maslaha bi ni fogg lan moy redeploy dahal borom with immediate effect amul complex.
No,
borom dang ko wara
what I mean is sometimes when they handle laws here, we have beautiful laws, but we don't apply it. You know, so bepare come no ko waxe nga ne okay, sometimes pour nit ñi ñoo back la
duñ la back dañ la bay nga wait.
Because it's the setup, like society buñ jógee da feel ne okay suma defé li ak li la ñoo fokk
wala dañoo wax ne man ma def li
o maybe sa ñu daxal liggéey
daxal liggéey
no bu nekkee boss bi la
waaw parce que it's your word again, you know. And it actually happened in Nigeria when was it the parliament or the governor thing at that level kooku dafa génn ne kooku daf ko harass, she was suspended because she couldn't prove it.
And looking at it at that particular level, so it's kind of entrenched to an extent that people kind of normalize it. If you call even certain names dang day gis na loolu waaye loolu dara di man li ma ko ooyee amul benn li sawang baa ngi day war a comme skinny ak yooyu noonu yëpp mun nga ko ooyee ni te borom lii you cannot inappropriately call people wara nga laal nit inappropriately. Man I for one man there are certain things that I don't actually joke with. You touch me inappropriately wara laajuma la nga laal ma I will tell you no matter how whatever relationship with her.
So waxee loolu ñu doodi wa moom du am jëkkër dafa bari affaire.
Waaw I rather not
moom du am jëkkër billahi man yooyu lañ ma dee wadi ay satu keeta man yooyu lañ ma dee doon moom du sëy kii ku ko taka may toog sa di yow sa laaj nga ma ko bés boobu nga ne ma jéena ba yow sa kana laa taka
waaw because
ay satu keeta parce que feel nañ ne da nga aware of sa right. Aware nga of sa right time wax déedéet su jotee di nga wax déedéet ñu put la in a box na kii du sëy du am jëkkër bi ko benn góor bëggut jigéen bu aware of right.
Wala sometimes ñu wax la luñ la ñu wax yow ni nga defee ni yow léegi kon soo sëyee yow naka nga def ak sa jëkkër
xanaa sëy lan la
exactly no buñ duga si wax boobu
non man sëy bi enu nañ ko
that's funny
man sëy bi ay sa dukkente enu buñ ko enu daal boobu du wax mu ngi noppi teg
waaye da nga war a xam ne
pat organisé
non waaye da nga war a xam ne okay as góor waruloo nekk di laal yarami jigéen boo xam ne du sa jigéen ok it's inappropriate loolu suñ la ko waxu te war nga ko mun a xam ok I don't think ne loolu dañ ko war a link ak sëy ak yooyu
dañ ko fa dee link
kooku lu moo def si sëyam loolu is not your
dañ ko fa dee link
sometimes people do that xam nga nit ñi soo demee to an extent amuloo dara loo wax you use those things as
to bully parce que xam nga ne boromam xëj na sëyu nga use ko di ko bully or something and it's very unfortunate. In fact dañu war a encourage suñ doomi jigéen ñu aware of seen rights su ko defee suñ sëyee suñ leen fa toroxale ñu wara mëna génna
wara yena people will do so suma waxe dinañ ma ñew duñ ma gom wara suma waxe dina ma ñew daha wara suma waxe dina andi suma bo problem wara dina andi problem all of those things actually do happen. It's rather unfortunate.
Also, ñu wax about the Public Order Act because gis nañ ne ñi seen permit bi ñu ko deny mooy gala something you know ñu ko deny waaye ñoom ñu ngi wax ne dina gëna protest
they will still go ahead and
without a permit.
So
is it time to revisit the law?
I think it's actually a time because Nini should have freedom of assembly
at any time.
Because as initially stated, it's going to be a peaceful protest and all of those things. And I think they actually have the right when they have issues. But then when you look at it, time without numbers, it's not the first time or the second time that the reasons that they give is security concerns.
Bi sa joxe wuñ reason.
Bi dañ ne flag duñ ko approve.
Flag dañ waxoon flag duñ ko approve. But I think prior to Galaño Don and the disapproval, they had a meeting with them. So from the meetings, some of the issues that were raised was security concerns.
Right now, lan mo nekk di help for them to consider security
that's the thing
concerns.
you ask about because these people are trying to exercise their civic right and responsibility as individuals who have concerns that they want to raise and then want to do it in a peaceful assembly, sort of, and they have the right. I think the Public Order Act needs to be revisited and we look at all of this so that people can have the right
to
assembly and all that.
Why ñu ne nan nit ñi protest time bu leen neex waxtu bu leen neex fu mu leen neexee boobu tamit lan nga foog ne can it be problematic?
I think dialogue.
It depends. Yeah, it just has to be conversational.
I think
understand all of these things.
Yeah.
But you know, and also if you look at it, Gambians are very much peaceful in nature.
Wow,
exactly.
All the time.
All the time. Like, and it depends on what issues will actually warrant people to come out. Even if you look at the proximity in which people have been requesting for permit, and the issues has not been that much and all of those. And I think there shouldn't be any problem, anything wrong with allowing people to actually go and exercise whatever they want to do.
My mom agrees now people going and exercise their duty daily peacefully.
Yes.
And you mentioned that it will happen peacefully.
Peacefully, exactly.
And considering that these are a group of young people, what does that tell you? Léegi fi mu nekk nii xam nga group of young people yi ñoom dañoo génn ne looting bi lañ bañ corruption bi la ñoo protestal so ñun as young people because xam nga ku ko def young person la woon so ñun at our level as ay ndaw naka lañ mën a def ñun tam suñ nekkee si position boobu duñu replicate as young people tey lan lañ génn di protest against because xam nga change bi su ñun la war a commencé.
Yeah, it starts with us actually. So maybe
ñun tamit organisation yi ñoo lead as young people, are we transparent?
That also.
So ñun ndaw yi foog ñu seetaat suñ boppa.
Most definitely.
Foog ñu seetaat suñ boppa bu commencé suñu.
I think this could have been a litmus test to see whatever could happen at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Given the fact that this was started up by the revelations that were being made, especially when you look at the significant amount of money that have been actually spent and all of those things, and then that could actually be diverted to the health sector and other sectors in the country. We could have actually made change in the country, and then all of those things have not been happening. So looking at it all, it was more like them seeing it as just few groups of people benefiting from the lot that the entire country could have actually benefited from. Looking at the economic situation of the country, it's very, very appalling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Considering Halis Bobu, what
exactly what it could have actually got diverted into. Yeah.
Different sectors.
So I think that is what actually has got or angered these people.
Yeah.
Because you look at it,
and they're right.
Within the period in which they created this gala and all that.
I think they should go in for dialogue. Maybe they should revisit the idea of, okay, we will do it without a permit.
And all
just dialogue with the authorities to see if your permit will be granted.
No, dialogue.
But I think they were actually called upon because even when they submitted the request, they were called at the office of the IGP by Interpol to discuss on the issues and why and all of this. I think that could have been a benefit that the IGP could have used to just allow them and see what could happen. But even though with all of those things that they are going to do, they could have still provided protection for them. Security could be there and all of that. And then ensure that things wouldn't go out of hand because it's there, they should be able to do those.
Definitely.
Man daal na waroon nañoo ñëw rek ñu ne diggante time bi ak time bi ak diggante fii ak fii ñu def ko ñu gën a exercise
because ñoom dañoo waaw so whoever is going to be there borom mun naa ñëw mu déglu lan la gaay di wax ak lan mooy seen concerns they can take in it and then government dafa war a use this as an opportunity to be able to address the concerns democracy and good governance, but address the concerns of people, because these are concerns. And then when you look at what has actually been going around in terms of discussions, like it's a concern for every single Gambian, whether you know it or not, or it affects you directly or not. You know that
everybody.
Exactly.
Sa yaay dafa feebar, sa papa dafa feebar, dafa dem lopitaan te su demee lopitaan ñu ne ko garab amut, xaalis bi suñ ko jëloon invest ko si changes dina doon war a mën a am xëj na sax yàlla tere ko. People have died in hospitals or something. The league could have been used to leave. Mun nañ ko use jënd si ay CT scanners, jënd si ay yu bari.
Because soo ko gisee sa Jammeh, as most of these assets yiñ jël sax, some of them were owned by other individuals. Assets si jàmbur yi lam jëloon musis, and then these were some of them were now taken and resold again.
Wow, so
it's crazy.
But anyway, like you said, fu mu nekk nii daal xëj na revisit public order act bi ñu seet as a country naka lañ mën a ñëwee, because ku nekk am na right to protest génna wax li nga xamante ne moom moo ko naxari in a very peaceful manner, respectful. Loolu mooy everything.
In a peaceful manner, because lii dafa test subsequent, I mean, protest bu nekkee ne bi jaarut yoon, I mean, it's still going to affect you.
The subsequent one. So nañ ko teg sa yoon rek.
In the fact now they've actually forced that ñoom dañoo protest whether permit or not permit. So they could have just been given the... We just hope that it actually ends peacefully and all that. And for man, I'll just call out my colleague journalists, whatever happens, like be safe and then ensure that no story might be worth your life, whatever it is. And if it is going to turn in some type of way, you ensure that like we are just safe, covered in the protest and all of those things.
But then you report responsibly as well. Yeah. Because issues used to happen and sometimes we're overexcited, you know, to report on them. But thank you so much, Aissatou, for joining us on the program.
Yeah, it was
We
good
hope
being
that
here.
you get to pass by more often.
Yeah, I wish I could. You know, when I was coming in, I was just telling Alice, I was like, I just didn't have it my way, but I shouldn't be saying it, but showing on, I think I have this nostalgic of being on TV and on the screen. And all of those
because
things.
You've obviously worked at GRTS.
Exactly. So I don't know. I've run away from being on TV for a couple of times.
And you used to be on TV all the time.
Yeah, so for me, being on TV back then was more like, oh, it was just the job. But at some point, I don't even want to be on TV.
I heard ne bes bo baye TV do ko de laigat. Dega na lolu. Te man mi nga xamne ñu ne man dama bëgg télé. Ma man suma baye abal de lo wasima.
No, I mean, lifinut sir, because so sete time bobu
man ñu ne dama bëgg télé de.
How different it is. I mean, before no feeling excited to be on
now
television.
it's different.
Will be totally different.
That they died down. But thank you, Aissatou, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Have fun. Take some time out. So we'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, we will head right on to a different lineup of topics that we have in place for you. We'll be right back.
Kiusel moy suñu boss. Kiusel moy suñu boss. Kiusel moy suñu boss. Go, ebe da full network suta tili QCell. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata QCell. Most reliable network jumala keta wati QCell. Wo quality man nyon sota jam pona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria QCell suñu boss. Ñu fi njëkka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno. Gambia bela nyon tawa fele QCell. Ko fasunta buka busi QCell. Itella molti milka kukutol nati Gambia QCell meta lori la kilianol yele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be kenoma. QCell sunyu boss. QCell sunyu boss. QCell sunyu boss. QCell sunyu boss. Connect solo be bambandi QCell sunyu boss. QCell most innovative QCell sunyu boss.
Kiwmoni arti webi na fitoragol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi Kiwmoni a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa e hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o Kiwmoni app kesong a wawa e naftinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda credit soda kiw paba soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa en yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi ida wawi kadi nuldude Kiwmoni yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka play store ma ɗum ka app store fi wawa fuɗɗade fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu Kiwmoni customer care e 133 Kiwmoni suñu kalpe minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki Kiwmoni e murundananne koteke anilañi mobile app sone yaringo alanna yata ndum e se kuwol be keno ibe dawoda wati o wati e se munafanno ila kodola anin Kiwmoni la ñim mobile app kuto e se kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde e se credit ko sanno ye Kiw power sang ye fengol sang ndum fanan e se mol jono anin ku jamalu e se Kiwmoni kino ye la bilol jo ndum fanan bantala banko se kodo kiyeno e se kodo fanan kino do kotenge pour que munafanyina a download sign play store anin app store ni la taka serengo soto je Kiwmoni customer care commandi 133 Kiwmoni suñu kalpe ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma
Taking a break isn't about stopping, it's about recharging for the next stage. Welcome to our oasis.
Powered by Africa.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And Ibrahim and I were joined by the Journalism Students Association as they mark their JSA week. And we're joined by Ibrahim Mbai, who's the Deputy PRO, as well as Khadija Tujiba, who's the Secretary General of JSA. So, Khadija and Mr. Mbai, thank you so much for joining us on the program. So, Mr. Mbai, what is this JSA celebration all about, the JSA week celebration?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jenawa, and it's a pleasure to be here. So just like you know, at the University of the Gambia, we have various sub-associations. So in which the School of Journalism and Digital Media, we have what they call the Journalism Students Association.
Right.
So annually, we have what we call a week-long of programs that is not only about entertainment, but about education, and of course, for us to recall on the successes that we have registered as a school and as an association. So JSA Week has been there for the past years. Every year we have. It
used to be called the Founders Day.
Founders Day. So I mean, from
one
last
day.
Yeah, exactly. But now it is it has been extended
to a whole week.
A week that has a lot of activities which we will discuss as we proceed. So the JSA Week, I mean, comprised of it's a week that is designed for the students to stay away from the classroom, at least to have fun together. Because if you check at the University of Gambia, like usually it's just with assignments, assessment, just crazy. But now this JSA Week provides that opportunity for students to come together, to bond together. Because if you look at some fourth-year students and some first-year students, they don't know each other. You understand? So we have a working class students, usually, for them, what brought them to school is just for class and they'll go home. So we believe that it is important that we have a week whereby we would discuss things together, have fun together on different activities. And that is why on the first day, on Monday, 11th, we're going to have what we call a march past, you understand? I mean, and a symposium, sort of, you understand? That would be a sponsored walk from Westfield to Traffic Light, where this would bring students from first year to the final year level to be together so that we can have engagements together. So from there, we have series of other activities. The sports day is there, the cultural and talent night is there, and even a health day. We have a health day that is designed purposely for blood donation, and of course, sessions or symposium on, STIs and other things. So the JSA Week is a very important week that is designed for students to come together.
Let's talk about how is this going to benefit journalism students of the university.
Thank you very much, Mr. Balde. Just like Ibrahim started talking about it, it's a platform we use to make sure our students build familiarization. So first, they are going to have a chance to build better familiarization among themselves. That will be through the sponsored work, where they work together, seeking donation or making the week known to the public. And second, through the health day, It's going to be a chance for the journalism students to give back to the community through the blood donation drive. We, gather people to donate blood to save lives. We will be sending these bloods to the Bundung Maternal Health Center for people who are in need of blood. Because we observe that in the Gambia, most of the times at the hospitals, people have scarcity of blood. Most of the times, you need a particular blood group and you will not have it. But through this blood donation, we will be able to give back to the community in this line. Through the Founders Day celebration, we'll be able to recognize our JSA alumni as well as the founders of the, journalism field in general, to be able to celebrate them and make them know that we are proud of them as upcoming journalists. And we have a cultural day as well. So through this cultural and talent day, we will be, celebrating the diverse cultures in the Gambia, making sure our students learn to appreciate each other's culture. They will be grouped randomly in different ethnic groups. This way, you are a Jola, but you find yourself in a fuller ethnic group. You'll be able to learn their specific and unique, cultures. That way, you learn to appreciate them even at community level. And it makes you live with different ethnicities, and then you are proud to be with them, be among them, because you now know what is unique about them. We also have a sports day, of course, and our sports minister is female, so this year we are given a different dimension to the sporting day. We will be, having women mostly empowered in sports, and then even our management, SJDM management, will be competing with the SJDM students. So, of course, JSA Sports Day is going to be spectacular this year.
So, do we have a team for this year?
Yes, this is a theme. This will tell you that JSA, this year's week, is a week that is absolutely different from the other weeks. So this year our theme is, beyond the classroom, exploring journalism, culture, and the community. And that is why we don't only limit it within the four corners, of the class. We realize that we have, as journalism students, we have further responsibility that is not within confinement of the school. So this time we're going out, and that is why we including, cultural display, through talent and, engaging among ourselves on the sports day. So if you look at on the 13 to 16 of this month, you realize that the lineup of our activities, send a big signal that this year's JSA week is coming with a difference. So like Khadijatu said, we have a theme this year, and the theme is, beyond the classroom. We are going outside. Not only now, we are packing everything that has to do with the classroom now. We're going out there, connect with our people, and then so that we will definitely know each other and build more relationships that can definitely shape our future as,
and I'm
students.
Happy about the alumni bringing, and I think you contacted me, Khadija, too. So I'll be moderating a session. When again?
On the 14th.
On the 14th, which is next week, Wednesday,
Absolutely.
from 3 to 6. I'll be moderating a session, and I'm excited about it as an alumni that you guys decided to bring us on board. I know we can be doing more, but sometimes, we can be very overwhelmed to forget about our alma mater and what we should go back to do. But inshallah, on Wednesday, I'll be there and contribute my quota as a person who's passed through there, and which has helped as well shape me today. So we're glad that you are bringing us, the alumnus on board to actually participate in the JSA week. And congratulations for taking it to the next level, because while we were there, working at the same time, learning, it was so challenging. We couldn't even be this innovative. So the credit goes to you guys for doing this, amazing work. So how impactful was the last JSA week? Because the reason why you're organizing it again, you've seen some sort of impact it has registered.
Definitely. So especially with the aspect of building familiarization among our students, like he said, most of the senior students in the school that are working class, they only come to school, like if you have class at 2:30, you get there by maybe 2:15. You just have your lectures and then, leave immediately afterwards. So there was a badge that followed my badge. The students were just complaining that these seniors don't have our time. Exactly. They even went to the extent of saying,
guilty.
We don't exactly. So they are like, we don't have their time, we will pass them, we don't grade them. So bringing up these initiatives, make sure when we build that bond during the JSA week, afterwards, we are all familiar with each other. When we meet, we greet each other, because we remember being in the same group during the cultural display, and we had fun and all that. So we are all twined and interconnected.
And also, as journalists, I mean, learning the cultural part is important for actual journalism practice. Going into communities and knowing what, you know, different communities are going through, realities in communities, it's also important for journalists, because eventually when you practice, you can make reference to these things. So I think it's beyond just knowing each other and having fun, but also the other impactful aspects that you're incorporating into this week.
So what are we going to do, I mean, for continuation in the future? For
do you guys have sponsors,
students?
Sports.
Who's sponsoring the JC
week? That is it. So basically we are having quite some challenges having sponsors on board, and we are calling on everyone that can, you know, help us with that. We really need sponsors. So at this point we contacted different alumnus of the JSA.
I think I was contacted
very well to you know, help us with some donation. I think it was at least 500 that we wrote.
It was 500. I'm yet to submit mine.
Some of the
I'll take Khadijatu's wave and I'll send it to her. But I'll give my donation.
Some of the members of the organizing committee were like, we should just say 1,000 above, not at least 500. We are
Jammeh
like,
shouldn't give 500. 5,000. It's the most paid staff of QT.
So we wrote to many institutions, and we are expecting, you know, at least hopeful that they will chip in before. But at this point, I think we have subvention from the main students' union, and then, you know, from small donations we are getting right now. And
but Khadija, do you have Q Money?
Q Money, not yet.
But you have to download Q Money, because man Q Money la they use. Man suru Q Money.
No problem. I will download it before I leave here, so that you can
make us
send me.
Make sure download Q Money, because
no
man
problem.
Q Money, ku amut Q Money, rek man majaka.
Remember, this seems to be an
yes. So we will do that. Yes, we will do that. So like, I mean, like Khadija was saying, so if you check, like in my first year, that was last year, I came, that was in my first semester, I just came in, and JC Week, you know, I was in. So I was able to be involved, and I took part. So eventually, you know, I became the, you know, deputy IPRO. So you will see that through these events, you know, I mean, we are molded. The young ones that are coming up are usually molded to take up, you know, the responsibility despite being in the lower, you know, level. So the JSA Week, you know, prepares, you know, students to come together and, of course, to know how to organize. Because we are in the first year, the next year will be the second year. And those in the fourth and third year will not be there. So obviously, we are going to be, you know, the ones that are going to organize that particular event. So taking part in it definitely helps, and that's the way we're going on.
Please, so remind us the date again.
Yes, the date is from, you know, the 13th to 16th of April, May 2025.
It's a 4 days event.
Absolutely, yes.
And I'll be there the 14th. I'll be there the 14th, so I'm urging everybody to come on the 14th and join our panel discussion, which will be very interesting and very impactful. So, you know, funny man 14 la. So, you know, it's open to the public. So even if you're going to high school and you feel like you want to come and, you know, learn about anything, experience sharing on journalism on the 14th at the University of the Gambia Auditorium, you know, you can just pop by and then, you know, listen to the inspirational stories that the panelists will be sharing on the 14th, inshallah.
Definitely.
All right, from 13th to 16th.
Sure.
So good luck on your preparations ahead of the week.
Thank you.
And calling on all the alumni to send their contribution, including me. I'll do that as well, just to support you guys, because that's the list that we can do. And we will come out and support you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Ibrahima, you're invited.
I'll be there.
If
you're going, let me know. We go together.
Yes. Yes. So thank you so much for joining us on the program, like I said, and then good luck, and looking forward to a successful JSA week. And so Ibrahima will now go for a short break, and when we come back, the show continues. Do stay with us.
Q Money imurundana nekoteke adila nyimbo alanna yata ndu ise kuol bekeno ibeda woda wati ise munafanno ila kodola anin Q Money la nyim mobile app kuto ise kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde ise credit ko sanno ye Q power sang ye fengol sang ndu fanan ise mol jono anin ku jamalu ise Q Money kino yela bilol jo ndu fanan bantala banko se kodo kiyeno ise kodo fanan kino do kotenge pour que munafanyina a download sign Play Store anin App Store ni laftaka kusere ngo sotoje Q Money customer care commandi 133 Q Money suñu kalpe ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma.
Taking a break isn't about stopping. It's about recharging for the next stage. Welcome to our oasis.
Powered by Africa. Oris Energies.
Q-Money Delsina ak seen mobile app bu bees bii óor na gaaw na te it mun nga koo jëfandikoo pour def ci loo bëgga foo mun di ne waxtu bu ne mun ngaa jot sa xaalis ak Q-Money mobile app bu bees bii mun ngaa dugal xaalis génnee xaalis jënd si crédit jënd si Q Power jënd loo bëgga ak yu bëri mun nga ci yónnee Q-Money fay sa bill si jot xaalis bitim réew yónnee xaalis ci noo ko bëggee looy def yomba na downloadal app bi léegi ca Play Store bu dul loolu App Store pour nga door pour am si lu leer koolal Q-Money customer care si 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ñoo xaali yoon wi ñeneen toppa
Oryx Service. Top teamwork for top performance.
Powered by Africa. Oris Energies.
Break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And now, Ibrahima, we're shifting our attention to Green Africa, and we're joined by the founder, Ibrahima Jatta, as well as the Aissatou Mane, who's the outreach manager. So, Ibrahima, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
And tell us, Green Africa, what does this organization seek to achieve?
Well, it is an organization that is founded by young Pan-Africans that are committed to advancing climate and health action. Mm-hmm. We are committed to advancing climate and health action through community impact. We believe in community action, collective community action through Pan-Africanism and not forgetting our African tradition and culture, blending it with African wisdom. And we have a mission to empower young Africans and local communities to rise, to lead, and to also live in balance with nature. And blending it with African tradition and culture with global solutions to make impact and to live sustainably and a healthy life.
So so I started to tell us, how do you combine the culture and the Pan-Africanism that he's talking about in your advocacy for a better climate?
Well, in Green Africa, our main goal is to target about 1 million plus youths to empower them by 2030.
Okay.
And
it's okay. It's fine. So you're targeting 1 million young people?
Yes, by 2030.
By 2030.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you're linking this to sustainable development goals,
yes,
you know, for a better planet for everyone.
Yeah.
And how have you been empowering young people towards?
That is through sustainable farming.
Okay.
Yes. In Green Africa, we believe that sustainable farming is farming within the environment and not against the environment.
Yeah.
That is to empower or promote organic farming.
Exactly.
And also discourage deforestation.
Yeah.
Through that we can sustain the environment.
Yeah, but I said, don't worry, calm down. We are a very chilled panel. Gis nga ñun mi dara safuñu. Nañ waxtaan yow xolal amu tiit amu ragal. So you know, be chilled. We're just having, you know, a normal conversation, and just to say you guys are doing so well, and we are happy that you are the outreach manager, you know, as a young woman, and I'm sure you're doing extremely well.
Women power.
Exactly, and I'm 100% sure you're doing extremely well for Green Africa, and
you
we're
know,
proud to have you.
One thing I have seen now, and I hope you won't file for sexual harassment. I'm touching your body again. One thing I've noticed,
yes,
young women are now changing the status quo.
Yeah, just like Aissatou here.
You can see they are in different areas, different fields. You can see Aissatou Keita is now the president of the Gambia President.
And now we have Aissatou Mane as outreach officer.
Yeah, so can you tell us what are some of your activities in the Gambia?
Well, Green Africa is a very young organization. It is founded in 2023.
Yeah.
And we started our activities in 2024, actually. We've been conducting health screenings in Sukuta and in Fonyi as well. Right. And recently we conducted a beach cleanup marking Art Day in collaboration with the Gambia Tourism Board.
Right.
We believe in such community impactful activities that can actually be very small, but they can bring very big impact in our society.
Amazing.
And things like, we're discouraging things like plastic pollution. We know that we live in a society or in a community where it is very rampant and it is causing harm not only to our environment but to our health.
Right.
And it's also causing harm to our families. So we need to take steps to be able to stop those kind of harmful plastic littering that is happening all around the Gambia.
Yeah. So Aissatou, tell us, as outreach manager, you are directly having conversations and dialogues with people in the community. Like today you're having a conversation with us here as part of your media tour. What is generally the perspective of community members when it comes to our environment? What is their perspective of it? For example, going into a community, meeting them and talking to them about, stopping deforestation, stopping littering and all of that. What is normally their perception when you have conversations with them?
Well, their main response are,
it's okay, Aissatou. It's fine. I know as outreach manager, it's very difficult to deal with community members because sometimes, they have beliefs. And just to say, you're fine. Let me give Aissatou a story of when I was starting my journey as a speaker. It's very challenging sometimes to be on TV and talk to the public. Let me give her a little story just to encourage her. During primary school, everybody thought that I just woke up one day and started talking on television, but it did not happen that way. Back in primary school, back out Newtown, I was a narrator for a drama. You remember how you have to be like a narrator? Each drama has like a narrator and stuff. So Aissatou, I'm telling you a story here just so that you understand that me and you were the same. So I went to this drama competition. So I was the narrator. So you know how important the narrator is. So man suma time boom jote pour ma ñëw nekk narrator ba nak suma ñëwé ba taxaw ci gaay sen kanam ma start ben line rek ma bay ma pause. Even though everything was in my head,
but you have to.
Well, because I couldn't bring it out. So generally, it's a normal thing to go through these things. Well, come numa ko waxé won rek dama bëgg xam hejna because suñ yaay ak suñ papa yi ñoo nekk ci community bi Mr. Jatta te ñoom lañ dee dealal xam nga sometimes ñoom seen practices yi hit na xamuñ. So when you go into the communities ngeen di wax ak gaay ñoom naka lañ ko dee gisee comme nga leen di wax ne for example bàyyi leen deforestation bàyyi leen littering naka lañ ko dee jëlee.
I think it is a new thing to them. Yes, it's very new to a lot of people because platforms like this are an advantage for us to actually tell people what climate change is all about.
Exactly.
I think people do not know. That is why every program that we conduct, we try to do it with a sensitization.
Exactly.
So that we can sensitize people on how dangerous it is to litter around and how dangerous it is for people to throw plastic all around. Gambia here, we are very good in making laws.
Yeah.
Everybody says that. But to implement the laws is always a problem. We know that plastic is banned, but the law is not being implemented. There was a time I can remember that the law was implemented and you cannot see plastics in the market. People who sell them do it secretly. But now that doesn't happen. You go to the market, you find a lot of plastics, and people are selling ice on the ferries.
Exactly.
And these are places that we are targeting on biodiversity.
Sometimes I wonder, is ice mbuus not plastic.
It's plastic. Why not going to implement?
Wow. So
finally, before we wrap up, I said, how does it feel, you know, being a woman and doing the work that you do?
Well, to me, I feel normal.
Okay.
Because I'm also from the environment, so working with the people around my environment, it's something that's
you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But you know what, I see Aissatou as more of an administrator. Hamna Mr. Jata administration wise mom hamna ni sen administration bi moko yore. Looking at her,
she's recently appointed as an outreach officer, and this is her first appointment. So
this is her first appointment, and it's okay to be panicked, and you've done so well actually, because my first time being on TV, I couldn't even do this. So thumbs up to you for just coming here and being here and having this conversation with us. So good luck on your organization, you know, trying to ensure that Gambia is greener and encouraging young people to take up practices that will support our environment.
This is how we move as a people.
Exactly.
You know?
So Ibrahima, we're just wrapping up the week this
Absolutely,
week, and then looking forward to Monday, inshallah. What plans do you have this weekend?
Oh, a lot of plans.
Okay, are you going to be chilling? Are you going to be working?
Well, chilling.
Chilling?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go chill. So till we come your way next week with another interesting program. Bye for now. Bye-bye.